Pam Hoffman, Everyday Spacer.
I'm Jeff Miller, CME Computer and IT Solutions.
At Everyday Spacer, we show regular folks how to personally and directly participate in space exploration, science, and astronomy. We're here on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, 12 midnight Eastern Time, and 4 a.m. on Saturday in London. We're broadcasting live from Thousand Oaks, California. Thank you so much for being here. We got comments already. Hello, yes. Hello.
Yeah,
welcome.
Hi, Cliff. And Daniel and Dawn.
He said hi, Cliff, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Dawn. Welcome. There's Cliff again.
They're talking to each other
I
right
see
now.
that.
Oh, congratulations,
what
Dan.
What is that?
That's a security rating.
Oh, okay. Good. Congratulations.
And
Hey, Scott, did we miss you last week? I think we missed you last week.
And
congratulations. I do love it when they talk to each other. We don't need to be here.
Yeah.
We've got some security news. Jeff, that's you.
Yep. Okay. Not largely computer related, just they're using social media to what we used to call pump and dump, but now they're calling it ramp and dump.
Okay.
Basically using a whole bunch of tricks to get people to buy stock so that then they can sell it once it's been pumped up. And, unsolicited investment tips received via accidental text messages or social media advertisements linking to online investment clubs, often hosted on secure messaging apps so that you can't track them down.
Well, I think the message there is always do your own research when you're investing.
Right. Yeah. Because even if
hot tips.
Yeah. Yeah. Hot tips.
Maybe or maybe not.
Hot tips are usually hot for the person giving the tip.
I see. Got it.
Just look at most of the investment advice that you see out there online. If you do very well if you do the exact opposite of it, but hey. But so this just wanted to let you know.
You know what?
You guys know.
He's sharing and we haven't posted that yet. You want to go back?
Sure.
And just quickly, hold on. See, I'm cured up for something else. So there we go. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
that's what he's referring to. I'm so sorry. That was me.
Yep. And these are the ways of recognizing it. I'll put a link to this in the chat because urgent pitches with low price stocks, new and emerging companies, usually companies that will never go anywhere, and they buy this quick before it hits zero. That's often what you see, or buy it, essentially buy it quick before we sell our shares.
Got it.
That's
yeah.
But so if anyone is interested, they do give a bunch of red flags to look for.
Okay.
So
very good. And you're going to post that to the.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So you want me to do the next part?
Yes, please.
All right. So tonight we are going to cover Windows 10, transitioning to Windows 11. We'll be back in 8.3 seconds. There's a link to that book in the description. If you want a signed copy of the book, just write to me. Let me find it. Yeah, we're doing good. Pam at everydayspacer.com for details. Jeff says we have some more comments. Let's go with those.
Lots. They're talking to each other. So Cliff is also congratulating Daniel.
All right.
Janie says, yeah.
Oh, hey, Janie.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like that, Janie.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't here.
Yeah. Rug pulls. Oh, he's talking about the cybersecurity thing, the pump and dump.
Okay. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Scott, he missed it because 4th of July is his sister's birthday. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Glad you got to spend time with her, I presume. That's what that means.
Cliff says he has a question on a problem.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Naomi. Welcome.
Hope I get a freaking flyer cost. Yeah. Okay.
Looks like it. So, Everyday Spacer is sponsored by CME Computer and IT Solutions. Windows 10 is going end of life in October of this year. If you have a computer running Windows 10, what does that mean to you? What are your options? Can you upgrade Windows? What are the differences between Windows 10 and Windows 11? Thanks for taking the lead again this week, Jeff. Talk to us about this transition to help people understand what's happening this summer. Are you going to share a screen again?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Okay, tell me when you do.
Okay.
Please.
So Windows is basically dying. It's not. They're not going to pull
Windows 10?
Yeah, Windows 10.
Okay.
They're not going to pull the rug out from under it, but they will. But October 14th, which is the second Tuesday of October, which is when they give updates, is going to be the last security update for Windows 10.
Okay, so after that,
no more security updates.
You're on your own if you keep using it.
Yeah, which means that if they find people are using a flaw, they won't give you updates. Except so. Okay, good. The Pro version.
Good.
That's actually a better version of Windows. Gives you some more control over your own computer. Daniel, lots of hardware that doesn't support TPM is end of life too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that's why they're end of lifing Windows 10. Or, because Windows 11 requires TPM.
Would you please tell us what TPM is?
I don't really remember. It's a chip on there. It's
like a lot of things. Got it.
Someone can look it up, but it is a security protocol.
Maybe Daniel knows.
That's built. Yeah, you just passed the CompTIA security.
Here's another test for you.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
He put it there.
Yeah.
Trusted platform module.
Which sounds really nice, doesn't it?
It doesn't sound like hardware either.
It is. It's a specific chip that appears on the motherboards.
Yeah, okay, you have told me about that before.
Sometimes it's in the CPU, but most of the time it's on the motherboard.
Okay.
And the reason why they're getting rid of Windows 10 is Windows 10 does not require TPM.
Okay.
And the claim is that Windows 11 does require it.
Okay.
Which makes so Windows 11 isn't any more secure. It just requires that the computer itself be more secure.
Okay.
It's kind of like
seems a bit odd.
They require you to have a lock on your door.
Okay.
Or actually a second lock on your door, because the TPM keeps things from changing code on the computer itself.
Okay.
The BIOS and stuff like that. Mostly. I'll just say that nothing's perfect, and it's already been proven.
Oh yeah, over and over again.
Yeah.
For everything and everyone.
But the claim that Windows 10 actually, or Windows 11 actually requires, go ahead, show that.
So it says you can get a TPM plugin module for that.
Yes, and that will sometimes let Windows upgrade to 11. Not every time.
There you go, Cliff.
Yeah. So.
What does it depend?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Daniel said exactly that. That even if you have TPM, it might not be supported. And that's because Microsoft didn't care about any of the edge cases. They just wanted to say you had to have TPM, and put in some of the things like, oh, this motherboard will never support it, so it's out. Or the CPU, like anything that's earlier than 8th generation Intel won't support it.
Okay. How do you know that? Is that in the BIOS?
If you
and BIOS is
no. Well, you can find it in the BIOS.
Well, and you can talk about what BIOS is. I know how to get there, but I don't know
BIOS
exactly
is usually gotten with hitting either escape, delete, or F2 as the computer started.
Okay, what is it though? I know how to get there, but what is it?
It's the software that tells Windows what's on the motherboard. It's
very good.
It tells the computer what's in the computer.
Okay.
Essentially, I mean.
Well, and it's something you can adjust too. You can go in there and change things in the BIOS, can't you? Okay.
Well, yeah, you can do things like how it deals with the hardware. that's what that's what you can adjust in there.
All right.
And so if you go into the BIOS, you can see the version of the CPU, or you hit system info in the search bar at the bottom of your screen right next to the start button, and you hit system info. It will tell you the
oh, is that over here?
Yeah.
This thing?
Yeah, well, it's the search right there.
Yeah.
You'd have to share your whole screen for that.
Yeah.
But
I could.
Yeah.
If anybody has a question about that, please ask.
Yeah. And then there's the actual version of it.
You're doing great on your test so far. Yeah. Albert says.
Basic input. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. And welcome, Albert.
Yeah. So in any case, it's what, it's what tells the computer. Yeah. And Daniel says BIOS is now UEFI.
I didn't know that was.
It's a more secure version of BIOS.
Okay.
That.
What's it stand for?
That
it'll tell us.
Essentially locks the computer. If you're using UEFI, it lets Windows have more control over essentially the BIOS.
Okay.
And it's theoretically more secure. More secure doesn't mean that they can't actually crack it, and they have.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, anybody who wants to get into your, like, say you lock your car, most people won't even.
There he goes.
But yeah, if they really want something or the car, they'll get there. Yeah. Universal. Okay. Where, Jeffries?
Hey, Daniel, you probably didn't think you'd have to take that test all over again, did you?
He came to the show and he's showing off his knowledge. So yes.
But
and thank you. I really appreciate that.
So the trouble is the fact that Windows 11 requires TPM isn't true.
TPM being
that chip that
this one here,
Yeah.
Trusted
Yeah.
Platform Module.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Daniel.
Windows 11 does not actually require it to run. The Windows 11 installer requires it to install Windows 11. Unfortunately, the upgrade from 10 to 11 uses the installer. Also, feature updates use the installer.
Makes sense.
How do I know this? Because I created an image of a Windows 11 machine, and on a regular Windows 11, had nothing on it because I just installed the Windows 11, and I restored that image to a 6th gen processor. To a machine with a 6th gen processor. Heck, I've done it with a 4th gen processor. And it works. Windows 11 is perfectly happy as long as it can still find the hardware drivers, which means that if Windows 10 runs on it, you can restore Windows 11 to it. Yep.
Are you asking about Universal Extensible Firmware Interface, Cliff?
Yeah.
I would like you to kind of go back, and I know the comments are going to keep coming in, but give us a few seconds of some foundational stuff here. So I think we've gone off into the weeds, and I'm not sure we know some of the basics we need to know.
What do you like? What do you have a question?
Well, you asked all these questions in the thing.
Well, I'm still going on.
I know you're.
Okay,
this stuff right here, the what I read.
Yeah. So what are the difference between 10 and 11? Essentially, aside from some cosmetic differences, the main difference is the installer.
Interesting. Okay.
Because, like I said,
and they're going to provide updates for 11. I take it.
Right.
But now, not 10.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because they'll still do updates. Now, because like I said, I restored an image of Windows 11 onto an older computer.
Yeah, when you say image, I just think of a picture.
It's a backup.
Okay.
A full system backup.
Oh, so like a...
It basically takes the entire computer's hard drive and says, this is what's there, boom.
Okay.
And then when you restore it, and the reason why you do that is because if your computer dies, you get a new one, you restore it, and boom, everything's back where you... Yeah. Maybe.
Too many people.
The trouble is that it's not,
Windows.
yeah, and it's not that much of a learning curve from 10 to 11. Not like 8, the abomination of 8. Um, so the only trouble with restoring a backup of Windows 11 to a Windows 10 computer
Okay.
is the installer still won't find TPM on there. So you can't get feature updates. Now you'll still get security updates.
Okay.
But if you install like Windows 11 24H2, which is the current version, onto an old computer, it will never get past Windows 11 24H2. You'll still get security updates until they stop giving them for that version of Windows 11.
Got it.
Okay.
So,
so it's a temporary solution. Also, it wipes out your computer and your data and your program, so you have to reinstall everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harder to copy paste. It's a pain in the patootie.
So, like
How's
I said,
that for a word, Cliff?
Yeah.
Cliff's from Australia.
Yeah.
In case you don't know.
So, like I said, it's possible. Now, that's the unofficial way of doing it, and it doesn't really give you, any
Doesn't
of the
sound
feature
very
updates.
flexible.
It's not flexible. You have to wipe your computer to do it. So it might be worth it for some things, but
Sounds like an interesting experiment.
it was. I mean, my experiment was, how old of a computer can I do this with? And
okay.
And the answer was, if it could run Windows 10, it could do this.
Okay.
So there is another way of doing it officially, and let's show this. Yeah.
All right, hold on. There it goes.
So this is the Microsoft official way of extended security updates, because, after all this pressure, they decided to do it just like they do it every single other time. So not a surprise to anyone. It's just part of their script. Okay, now they give, you have to be running Windows 10 22H2, which, fine. That's the latest version of Windows 10. And how much does it cost? If you get it through Microsoft Volume Licensing Program, it's $61 per device for 1 year.
So it's a license now.
It's a 1 year, yeah. And the
Basically.
price doubles every consecutive year for a maximum of 3 years. Wow. So you could pay $120 on the second year, and $240 on the third year.
So you better be desperate.
Yeah.
All right, I have a couple comments. Good.
Good. Yeah. Go ahead.
At least it makes you back up stuff if you haven't.
Yes. Exactly.
I upgraded to Pro with not much of a problem.
Yes. Yeah. The upgrade here's all the difference between Pro and Home is it's the license key. The license key tells Windows what features to use.
And how much? Well, of course, Daniel, keep in mind, Cliff is in Australia. It could be different in the United States. Yeah. Because Daniel's in the United States.
Right, yeah. So the upgrade from Home to Pro is just basically giving it a new key. And now Windows goes, hey, look, I'm Pro now.
But he was asking about the cost.
Okay, yeah. Okay. What does Albert say?
You want to answer how much was the Pro?
Oh.
That was Daniel's question there.
Yeah, I think he was asking Cliff, because I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
You can.
Perfect.
I think the last time I looked, it was $99.
So not terrible, but.
Not terrible, but.
It's not cheap either. I mean, cheap. It's not $10.
It's about $160, $70 to get Windows just itself.
Wow.
So,
that's, yeah. I remember when there was a lot
the
more.
upgrade is like most of the cost. Okay, so Albert says, wondering if changing from Windows 10 to Linux can be a good idea. Well,
you gotta know how to use Linux.
Yeah, if you know Linux, the computer's a perfectly good Windows 10 computer would be a perfectly good Linux computer.
Okay. Yeah, I took a class on Linux, but I don't know how to use it.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not constantly using it, so.
Yeah, I know Linux a little bit, mostly because one, I learned Unix way back, and two, most of what I do in Linux, I use it just like a DOS interface.
Oh.
But a lot of my utilities are on Linux.
How to get rid of a lot of crap. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
To upgrade to 11? All right.
Oh, huh. Oh, it probably auto got rid of some programs. I don't know. They Microsoft has its own rules. So that's only one of the
We
three.
sharing?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
sharing?
yeah.
Okay.
Because we're going back to this.
Okay.
Paying $61 a year is only one of the ways. The other way, you can do it with no cost for Windows 10 virtual machines if you're running on these services here.
Okay.
In fact, here, let me make that bigger so that you can actually read that.
Great.
That doesn't make it much bigger. Okay, there we go. Now that's Windows 11 virtual machines. Basically, you're running. It's like it turns your computer into a, your computer's operating like a dumb terminal and just running Windows off of a server. That works in some cases. I've never really liked it much, but it works. But if it's a virtual machine, they'll still give updates.
Okay.
Mostly because it's living on a server and they don't want to compromise the servers.
Makes sense.
And the third way for individuals or Windows 10 home customers, no, they mean Home or Pro for individuals. If you're on a home machine, extended security updates for Windows 10 will be available for purchase for $30 for 1 year.
1 year.
They do not.
Okay.
Now, I think that they'll extend it year after year for up to 3 years, but they don't say that, so they're not committed to it. Of course, what they say, they're not necessarily committed to either, because they said that Windows 10 would be the last version of Windows.
Oh.
That was why they wanted people to upgrade from 7 and the few poor bastards who had 8. Is that, their whole thing was Windows 10 would be the last version of Windows. And
okay,
yeah,
not so much.
No, because they wanted to require TPM, which we've already seen isn't really a requirement. It's just a requirement to install.
So confusing.
Yeah, it's just playing games, and by doing this refresh, they ran into the problem of the Dutch. I think it was a Dutch sock company that made socks so robust that they never wore out, and they ended up going out of business because they weren't getting more revenue. And Windows 10 was doing that to them. They could only sell Windows on a new computer. Well, how do they increase their revenue? By making people buy new computers. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Doesn't cost anything to run Windows, just upgrade, and there is a lot of ways to get it for cheaper.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. So, now that we've seen one unofficial way and 3 official ways of getting Windows 10 to Windows 11,
Sharing?
I'm thinking that I'm going to try to, I'm going to have to unshare and share, because I'm going to, I should have done a screenshot of this, but I'm going to show system information so that I can show people how to tell what it is. So,
okay.
So let me get back into here, and
you could do a save as and open it in a,
yeah, that's true,
in a tab.
Yeah. And share. Sorry about this, folks. Should have done this sooner. It just didn't occur to me. System information. Here we go.
Okay, you need to bigify that because it is teeny.
Unfortunately, I cannot.
Oh.
So you might have to full screen.
Why is it fluttering like that?
It's just because it's freaking out.
It's not happy.
Yeah. Oh.
No pirate versions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because they do check, but
okay.
Okay, so it stopped freaking out.
Okay.
So.
What is all this? What is it?
Okay. For system information tells you a lot about what's on your computer.
Okay, so that's what this is.
Right.
And how do you get there?
You go to the search bar down at the bottom.
Search.
And just start typing system information. Usually by the time you get done writing the word system information will be up there.
Okay.
And this is the screen that pops up. the important one that you want is this one right here where it says processor. Now here they've made it easy. They say 12th gen. Basically, if it's newer than an 8th gen, it definitely will. If it's an 8th gen, it might update to Windows 11.
Okay.
And you can see, just if you see any paperwork on the computer, see this number here? The thousands are the generation. So if you see, a 4,000 something, that's a 4th generation. And
Okay.
it was probably Windows 7 only.
Yours looks like what, 12, 13?
Yeah, it's 12, 12400. Your computer's newer.
Oh, okay.
So that means that this one will take Windows 11, and it is actually, as you can see up here, it's running in Windows 11. Now, you get other things in here too. Like you can see how much memory you have and how much virtual memory you have. And you can even see things like components. It's a bit of a dig, but you go to storage, disks, and that tells you what your hard drive is.
This is very hard to see on the screen.
It is, but just, if you bigify it, you'll see it, and just pull it up yourself and play with it. But so the main screen gives you most of the stuff that you need, and components, storage, and disks gets you your hard drives. And that's going to be it for that. Okay. That's just how to tell if you if you can upgrade. But of course, the easy button for that is in the search screen, type update, and
okay.
if it bugs you to switch to Windows 11, then you can. And okay. Usually they don't shut up about that.
Yeah, sometimes it'll bug you.
Right.
In the normal course of affairs. Yeah.
Yeah. So now if your computer won't go to 10 and you don't
11.
Or won't go to 11, yep. And you don't want to either pay a lot of money to Microsoft for just getting a year, and you don't know how to or want to do the do the restore that I've talked about. And by the way, it will be a licensed version of Windows 11 because Windows 11 uses the same product key as Windows 10.
Okay.
That's how you can do the free upgrade. Is that the Windows 10? If your processor supports it, we'll use the Windows 10 product key. So there's nothing illegal about it. They just don't want you to do it because they want the TPM running. But Windows 11 doesn't actually require it. So
you're not going to do it. They'll take your money.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do what Jeff does, but I built custom computers all the time and laptops.
Yeah. And so the easy button is you buy a new computer.
Okay.
That's just going to be it. Now, like I said, after, it's not like Windows 10 will stop working October 14th.
Right.
But it won't get any more updates, and so it'll be more and more vulnerable. And my concern is that there are compromises of Windows 10 that they haven't used yet, waiting for Windows 10 to stop getting updates so that they can start using them. And Microsoft won't fix them.
And you mean they, as in
the bad guys?
Bad guys.
The bad guys.
All right. Yeah, I know people still using Windows 7. Is that what?
I know people who are using Windows XP, but that's because they've got hardware that runs software on the XP, and they don't make new versions of that software because they want to force you to
hardware.
No, they don't make new versions of the software.
Okay.
So the software won't run on Windows 7 or 10 or 11. But you can buy a new $30,000 to $50,000 piece of equipment that will run on a newer OS that has the new software.
Just sticking with XP, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And here's what they do: they have it sit all by itself, not connected to their network.
It's air gapped. That's what they call that.
Yeah. And
not vulnerable to
Right. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And
Oh, we got another comment. You ready?
yeah.
You want to finish
Yeah.
your
Go
thought?
ahead.
Most boards are designed for the next generation of software and hardware and firmware.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's not like Microsoft hides what they're doing. They work with Intel a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
An air gap is the ultimate security update. Yep.
Yep.
Also writing things on paper.
Yep. However,
kind of air gap too, actually.
nothing protects against an idiot with a thumb drive. Just saying.
Well, if your computer's so old it won't take a thumb drive, I think you're okay.
Right. Well, XP machines will take thumb drives.
If it still works, don't play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And that's why Microsoft is doing stuff like this, because they're not seeing increases of sales and the shareholders aren't happy, and it's a whole business thing. It's
yeah. And Cliff, those guys with their XP machines are going to keep them working as long as I can find parts for them. I've had hard drives go bad on them because that's the most likely thing to go bad. Power supplies next. Power supplies are easy to replace.
Fans.
Yeah. Hard drive you replace. If they don't have a full image backup, well, then it's just reinstall everything. I dig out my old Windows XP CD and reinstall the darn thing. Yeah.
They must have a CD player that works still, right?
Yeah. Or you replace that too, because it's probably been years since they last used the CD player.
Yes.
So if the CD
we got one sitting over here. It doesn't work anymore for that very reason.
Yeah. So, but I've kept those suckers working. I once turned a 2 gigabyte machine into a 4 gigabyte machine because they needed more RAM, and I managed to track it down.
Wow.
eBay is your friend for that sort of thing.
You can configure your computer not to auto run thumb drives.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and that is yes. And that requires a little bit of security consciousness. You can also configure it to not acknowledge thumb drives if you really want to put on the tinfoil hat.
I think Daniel learned a lot in his class.
Yeah.
Bravo, man.
Yeah, a lot of secure sites do basically deactivate the thumb, the USB ports. And that
you can also snip.
Yeah.
So I can stick it in, but it won't be connected to anything.
Well, there is one company that, for security purposes, super glued the insides of each of the USB ports so that you couldn't stick anything.
You can't even. Okay, not even a peanut butter jelly. Okay, if the computer only has one job, that's all you need. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
you get updated stuff for the office workers, and the machine that runs on the XP just keeps cranking until it really
until
dies.
the CNC machine dies, they've got the XP machine. That's the.
Is it a CNC machine? Interesting.
One of them got. There are embroidery machines that are set up like that.
Okay,
there are plasma welders that are set up like that.
Wow.
I have a number of clients that still have XP machines.
Good.
So
I have a client with a 7.
Yeah.
She's gonna upgrade. She keeps saying so.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
When she can't use the computer anymore, then she'll get desperate and call you.
Yeah.
Finally.
Had a company that went out of business about 4 years ago, and they gave us all of their computers because we used to support their computers. They were all XP machines.
And you took them, right? Because you still have XP clients.
Well, we pulled everything out of them and then e-wasted them.
Okay.
Yes, it's hard to find IDE cables anymore.
Yes.
And IDE hard drives.
Okay.
And
are those ribbons or just?
Yes, those are ribbons. Yeah, ribbon cables.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've built computers before.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have more stuff? Do you want to summarize?
Let's look through the list of things. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything up here.
Okay, that's all right there, I think. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see. We talked about options. Can you upgrade? Yeah. We talked about how to find out if you can upgrade. We talked about the differences.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like unless you have more questions about it.
Yeah, give us a summary. Do a nice summary, because this was a little bit all over the place. I think the comments were great, and I thank you. And let's make it make sense, all together.
So upgrade to Windows 11 if you can. And you can find out if you can by going into system information.
Okay.
And then, and just check the thousands of the thing. If it's above 9th generation, which is in the 9000 series for the processor, you can definitely upgrade. If it's 8th gen, you might be able to upgrade because some SKUs like the 8700 you could, but some you can't. Anything below 8 you can't, unless you pay money to Microsoft or have a good image backup of.
And that's just a
Windows
band-aid. It's sort of a temporary solution.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that makes the Microsoft solution not much better than my solution, is that when you do the extended service plan with Microsoft, you still don't get feature updates.
Okay.
So you get
Because they're
security
not doing
updates.
them.
Yeah, you get security updates, but you don't get feature updates, which, okay. Now, if you use my method and get to Windows 11, you don't get feature updates, but you're on Windows 11 and you're on 24H2, not 22H2. So, you're still a step ahead and you're no worse off than doing the Microsoft thing. Okay. So Cliff says, let's see.
Well, I got one more before that.
Okay, yeah.
XP was actually pretty awesome for what it was. I think so too.
Yeah, it was. It was much more solid of an operating system.
All right, so must say it's been a big difference between 286 and
Yep.
a lot of the forestry machinery works on Windows 98. Used to fix them.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Windows 98 was essentially DOS.
Oh.
With the user interface stuck on it.
Okay.
Windows XP was still like a newer version of DOS with the user interface stuck on it. Windows 7 was the first time that they got rid of DOS and then had to write a command prompt to imitate DOS.
Mm-hmm. So it's still true today, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the command prompt is in there. It's just their imitation of DOS. Which means that not everything works there because you can't get directly to the hardware because, you have to go through Windows to get it.
How was a 9000 series?
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy.
And you know how that turned out.
Just don't lie to it.
Yeah, essentially. Well, that's how they explained it in 2010.
All right. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Keep sending your questions. We will look at them.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about some stellar events this week, though. And we're talking July 11th today through July 18th, next Friday. July 11th tonight. Pluto and the moon are in conjunction. You'll see the moon. July 15th, the moon is on the equator and at ascending node. July 16th, Saturn and the moon are in conjunction. In fact, Saturn is 3.8 degrees south of the moon. And Neptune and the moon are in conjunction. You'll see Saturn and the moon. Oh, you got it.
Oh, okay.
You want to do the comments? Janie Becker. That's funny.
Oh, no, not how. Yeah. Okay. Cliff. No, he didn't.
Oh, did he steal it? So many of them do.
Yeah, he, okay. IBM went to, and I forget his name, the maker of CPM, DOS. Mm. And his wife thought that these guys were scammers and didn't go get her husband who was gardening in the backyard. So they left. They then went to Bill Gates and gave Bill Gates a copy of CPM DOS and said, here, can you make us a version of this? So yes, it was reverse engineered CPM. And that's what DOS was. And so he didn't actually buy it for $50,000. Now, there might have been a lawsuit there, and he might have paid off the maker of CPM for $50,000. That might be where that number comes from, but no, he didn't buy it. Yeah,
there was a lot of hinky stuff going on back then. There's a whole movie about Revenge of the Nerds. Is that what it's called?
Oh no, Revenge of the Nerds is something else. That's just a college frat party thing.
I thought one was anyway. There's a great movie about it. I think it's a movie, not a documentary, but it kind of has a documentary information.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a movie.
Docudrama.
Yeah, something like that. I read that one, right?
No,
I read that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, also, the next Globe at Night project starts on July 16th. It runs through the 25th. In the Southern Hemisphere, you're going to look for either Sagittarius or Scorpius. So they give you 2 choices for the Southern and 2 choices for the Northern Hemisphere: Hercules
we get choices.
or Cygnus. Yeah, we haven't seen choices for some of them lately, but this time both Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere will have choices of what you can go and look at. This is a great citizen science project. You go outside for any number of those 10 days, up to and including 10. You can observe from your location, report on what you see, and they will collate this information. I see some more comments.
Yeah. Just mark where
Cliffs.
you are.
Cliffs.
Yeah. Yeah, Cliff, I think that some of the books are Microsoft approved and some aren't.
It's like a lot of stuff. When you're in school, you learn stuff, and then you get out in the real world, and it's like, no, that's not exactly how that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's being where I am here in California, I know people who are much closer to what happened. So yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Oh, Janie says
thanks for being here, Janie.
Yeah,
and
thank you, Janie.
By the way, folks, Janie is doing a little bit of a Zoom presentation tomorrow. If anybody wants to know about that, we'll hook you up.
Yep.
I expect to be there. I'll be at the library first, but I'm going to try and get there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's kind of like Apple tried to sue Microsoft for stealing the look and feel of the Mac,
which came from
in
Xerox.
Windows. Yeah, and so
that's what that movie talks about.
Yeah, then Microsoft then talked to the Xerox people who are actually the ones who invented that look and feel, and jointly Microsoft supported Xerox in a case against Apple, and it just basically all settled out to Apple acknowledged that Xerox had the patent and that Xerox could give it away could give it away if they wanted to. And that was
some of that's kind of nasty business, but
yeah.
All right, I'm at the 17th. July 17th is the last quarter moon, and Mercury appears stationary. July 18th, the Pleiades star cluster is 0.7 degrees south of the moon. They have not talked about an occultation for that one, though, but it's close. Also on July 18th is the Friday night show. It's been a while, so let's do a profile. Find us Fridays at 9 p.m. Pacific time on the Everyday Spacer well, not this time. They failed again. I don't know what's going on. Facebook page and the Everyday Spacer YouTube channel. What inspires you the most for the coming week? Yeah, we got comments, right?
Yep, just one from Cliff, and
thank you,
Cliff.
Of course you are. What? We're all youngins compared to the universe.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. We're practically, babies. We're just born, newborns.
Well, actually, we might be closer to the equator. So,
we might be.
No, you're screwed. You're going faster. So, no, you're going faster. So you'll age slightly slower than we will. So in like a couple million years, we'll catch up to you.
Oh boy.
Because the difference is so minuscule at these speeds, but it's a real effect.
Oh, Naomi, you're welcome. She says thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Naomi.
Good. Thank you as well. So why don't you do this part? We're almost done.
Okay, if you or someone you know has done something interesting involving space exploration, science, or astronomy, we'd love to share our live. Join us again next Friday, July 18th. Pam has seen several interesting posts on Facebook and wants to pick someone to profile next Friday.
And I am going to post the graphics and so forth on Sunday. I do think I have someone in mind, but I want to look through a bunch of them that I've seen lately. So watch for the graphic and the explanation on social media. It's usually very late on Sunday, and I'm going to go find it here.
So folks, you'll find out soon after Pam figures it out.
Yes, because what I'm going to do is also put the teaser video on YouTube at youtube.com/@everydayspacer, and you go to the shorts link on that page, and you will see the teaser video, and there'll be all kinds of stuff late on Sunday, though. So that's when that's going to happen. I think I'm going to do. I think I know what I'm doing. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Okay, and Daniel says spacer armed and ready. And Cliff, I love you too, Cliff.
We love you too, man. All right, so we had a good crowd this evening. Thank you so much for being here, Cliff and Daniel and Naomi. Janie was here. I know Dawn was here.
Scott was here.
Scott was here.
And Albert.
Albert. Yes. Did we miss anybody?
I think that's it.
I'm looking.
I think we found everyone.
I think we did. Did we say?
Yeah.
Naomi? Okay, Naomi. Good. Scott, Jeannie, Dawn. Yep. It's always a better show when you are here. Thank you so very much. We'll continue to watch for your comments.
Oh, and Janie says, it's so hot, shorts are appropriate.
Oh, boy. Thanks for that, Janie. And on that...
I like short shorts. You like short shorts.
Oh, boy. You know I'm going to hit the button and you're all just going to go away for a while, right? Really, though, folks, have a great week. We will see you next Friday.
As Pam saves you from my singing.
Good night.